Sweetheart, hit and miss. Uh-oh. Shades of gold. 'Cause our plastic looks never get old. Getting kicks from coffee on the go.
Innovation is in our veins. Soon the whole world will know our names. Sharing our knowledge and freedom reign. We here for the people, you know it's our way. Setting foundations is part of the dream. It doesn't matter if you're new to the game. Listen up now, cause we all gon' say, elevate, 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 higher, elevate, 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 higher. We gon' rise up, we all gon' shine. Work through adversity, stay on the grind. Elevate, elevate, this is our time. Elevate, elevate.
Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, everyone. It's so great to have you all on one more time. It's your boy Josh, and those who are new to our show know that that intro is very new to you, but we're happy to have you on because we are live on a beautiful Tuesday night as the speakers are just doing their intros, which we are totally bypassing because it's boring. But we know that that's going to be what the show is going to be tonight. I'll have Reg joining me here shortly, and we'll be discussing and watching this with you and bringing up the old CPAC, not the CBC, because that's a waste of time. But we are going full blown with the CPAC because they're actually worth our tax dollars. Happy to have you, Reg. Welcome to the show, y'all. Happy to have you, sir. Now I got you on off mute. You're looking good, looking dapper. Nice shirt.
Thanks. I felt the t-shirt needed to go there because wanted to spruce it up for the occasion, you know.
Totally. I don't blame you, sir. And I love right now the chat's blowing up with that intro music. There's like, where did that come from? I'm like, yeah, those are the homies that are relatively new to the show. Haven't heard that one ever. But that was our old intro song from like before we started getting a little bit bigger. So that was a little bit beautiful for you. We only bring that on the live shows. So happy to have you guys. So we are right now, Bayless is giving his intro at the moment, and we are just going to kind of pop that up now and bring that off mute.
Meeting the moment. That's why we're here tonight.
Why is it so quiet?
Growing up in a middle-class
CPAC,
family
figure it
in
out.
Ontario, and now having 2 kids of my own.
Wow.
I get what Canadians are going through.
Their audio is
Worrying
terrible.
about how to pay your mortgage, keep gas in the tank, or whether you'll
That's
be
pretty
able to
bad. I
retire.
mean, that's CPAC
I
too.
know it hasn't been easy as we
Gee.
face serious challenges to our economy
gonna
and
see
to our
if-
sovereignty. But these challenges also present us with incredible opportunities to unite our country, defend
They
our
really just don't want
economy,
anybody to hear
protect our
the English
values,
debates, eh?
They really don't. Holy jumping. Let me
Like,
see if
Mark Carney might support Hamas again. Don't let anybody hear.
let's see if there's.
Ashley's biggest event.
I want to see if there's a
so
better
proud to be
feed
Canadian,
right now.
Especially right now, as Canadians across this country meet.
While we're
the
waiting
moment.
on that, one of
Each
the
of
things
us
I
on-
wanted to say
each of us
to
on
everybody
this
was
stage
that
meet the moment.
if you caught the
Tonight,
episode
I'm
this
going to raise the
afternoon,
tough
one of the
questions
things
today.
that I thought that was
Stand on the big issues
funny that we
face as
thought
Canadians and
was
present
actually a
clear
joke
plan for the
that
future of this
wasn't
country.
actually a joke was the
If we
fact
do not
that
do
while
that, we
the
will lose the
individuals
next
were
election.
down trying
Our
to
opponents
woo,
may
or I
wish
guess
that Canada
as
is
the
broken,
CBC
but
reporters
we
said,
know as
ram
Liberals, this
the
is a
information
great
about
country.
Canadian border
Now
services
is
and the
the time for
military
hope.
and all the other assorted
I am the
booths.
leader we need.
They were
And
giving out
together, we can
friendship
build the Canada
bracelets
we
along
want.
with
And I'm
pizza.
asking you.
Totally.
I was like,
We're going to jump in here.
What?
I got the global feed up here. Let's go.
Freeland, you're up next.
We got
Yeah.
Freeland's opening statement
A
here.
few weeks ago in Saskatoon, I met a 4-year-old girl named Ari.
Oh, she's bringing that one up
She
again.
asked me, can you stop Trump from invading Canada? Ari is a smart girl, and she's asking the right question. I'm running to be leader of the Liberal Party and the next Prime Minister of Canada because Trump is posing the gravest challenge our country has faced since the Second World War. He's threatening us with economic warfare. That's not new. Last time, he threatened to rip up NAFTA, and he imposed tariffs on our steel and aluminum. I fought back, and I won. This time, Trump's threats are even worse. He wants to make us the 51st state. Trump is unleashed and empowered. As your prime minister, I will be too. I have the experience, the plan, and the guts to stand up to Trump. to tell him that Canada is not for sale. And if he hits us, we'll hit him back. We need a leader who understands the seriousness of the challenge and is ready to meet it. A leader who can say to Ari and to everyone across our great country, I will fight for you. I will fight for Canada. And together, we will win.
Ms. Freeland, thank you kindly.
Okay.
And we move now to Mark Carney.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Carney. I was born in the Northwest Territories, and I
Here we
grew up
go.
in Edmonton. During my career, I've had the honor of serving our country, including as governor of the Bank of Canada during the financial crisis of 2008. Right now, as my colleagues have said, Canada faces one of the most serious crises in our history. To get through it, we will need to build a strong economy, and that requires big changes. Canadians have been telling me that they want change. They want positive change that builds this country. I can bring that change. I know how to manage crises. I know how to build strong economies. Yes, there are a lot of uncertainties, but during a crisis, it's important to distinguish what you can't control and what we can control. We can't change Donald Trump, but we can control our economic destiny. We are masters in our own home. I have a plan that puts more money back in your pockets, a plan that makes our companies more competitive, a plan that builds a strong economy that works for you. Canadians are ready to stand up for their country. I'm ready to stand with them and bring the right change for Canada. Thank you.
Mr. Carney, thank you. Thank you all. And we're going to get right into our first theme of this evening, Canada's place in the world. So for all these 1-minute questions, you are all going to get that 1-minute chance to answer the same question. And that's where we're starting this evening. And here's a warm-up for you tonight because it comes from Deborah in British Columbia. But I think Deborah really is showing what many Canadians are asking right now. She asks, how will you stand up for Canada against U.S. President Donald Trump? But I would like to add to what she has to say, why are you the best person positioned to do this?
That should be interesting.
And the order was picked ahead of time. And Mr. Bayless, you're first on this.
All right, we have to listen to a Freddie boy here
So
tell
I've
us why he thinks he's the best guy.
hundreds and hundreds of contracts with Americans over my 40-year career.
Yeah, I know, and I love the fact that
Mr.
Mark
Trump.
Carney's
It's not
like,
new.
I'm the best guy for the
On
job,
this
and I'm
point,
different.
I published a letter one day
because
before
everything
his
you've been saying so
inauguration, when I
far is
said clearly,
exactly the
He's not
same.
going to put 25% tariffs on everything, but he's going to attack certain industries. The first one I said he's going to attack is steel. It's exactly what he did. I tell you this to tell you that I know how to deal with him. And it's important to understand that Mr. Trump is a bully. And you do not give 1 inch to a bully. In that case, we cannot be learning this on the job. That's where I come in. I have the experience and the expertise to deal with Donald Trump. I can predict what he'll do, and then I can help build our defenses to stop him from doing those things, and also counterattack, which unfortunately is going to be necessary. This way, I will protect our country, I will protect our economy, I will protect our culture, and I will protect our sovereignty.
Bang on
Our
time for the 1
chat,
minute.
are we
Appreciate
feeling
that,
confident
Mr.
with
Bayless,
Frank
Mr.
there?
Carney,
Do we
over
want
to
him
you now.
protecting us?
Thank you very much.
After that,
Hannah.
are
I
you
think
feeling
in
that?
a situation like this, you need experience in terms of crisis management. You need negotiating skills, but you also need economic expertise, because part of the way to deal with this situation is to do what we should have been doing and what we need to do as a country, which is to build a strong economy. Now, we're going to spend time on building a strong economy, so I'll go through my plan for that later. But let me start by being clear. We will
Economic
never,
expertise.
never be part of the United States in any way, shape, or form. We have to recognize that the Donald Trump of today is different than the Donald
like
Trump of
moving
several
interest
years
rates.
ago.
Yeah, up and
Then
down.
his objective was to take more of our market. Now he wants to take our country. Let me finish by pointing out one other thing. Who's the worst person to stand up to Donald Trump? It's Pierre Poilievre. He worships the man. He uses his language. He's not the right person for our country at this crucial time.
Again, thank you for sticking
Jasmine's in the
with time on
chat
that.
right now
You're
and saying,
up next.
now I know why you two aren't answering your
Thanks,
texts. I
Hannah,
forgot
and
this was
thanks,
happening
Deborah,
tonight.
for the
Shout out
question.
Jasmine. We'd love to see you.
Look,
Thanks for
men
coming
like
in.
Donald Trump have always
Love you,
underestimated
Jasmine.
leaders like me. But they underestimate me and that's their mistake.
Oh no,
And
Karina
I think
trying
as
to act
Canadians,
tough.
we know what that's like.
Oh my.
We know how to stand up for who we are and to stand up to bullies. And that's something that I've been doing in the House of Commons for the last decade. I know how to stand up to people like Pierre Poilievre.
I'm just glad that she
who,
figured out
when
where
it
her
comes
mic
to
needs to
Donald
go
Trump,
for
would
this.
rather imitate him than stand up for Canada. I know how to stand up to people who want to take from us what is rightfully ours. We are a proud, sovereign country. And as Canadians, we have so much to offer, but also the Americans depend on us. And you can't bring a calculator to a knife fight. You have to fight very strongly and with the right tools. And that's exactly what I'm going to do as Prime Minister.
Calculator to a
Thank you
knife
kindly.
fight.
We're going to move
What
into
a
our
line.
first 5
What a line.
debate.
What are we doing here?
Forgot Christia.
Oh my gosh.
That's no
First mistake
problem.
We
by the
forgot.
moderator.
They
My
moderator already forgot
apologies.
Chrystia Freeland.
Ms. Freeland, thank
Holy
you.
jumping. She's already offended. Here we go.
Trump represents the biggest threat our country has seen since the Second World War. I have recognized that from the outset. I've built my campaign on a plan to answer that threat. I do think, though, it is a big mistake for Canadians to think that because we can't change Trump, we can't negotiate with him. Of course we can't change him, but we can outwit him. And the way to do that is by using our leverage, by recognizing that, yes, we depend on the US, but they depend on us too. We are their largest market by far. We sell them the
I
things
actually
we
love the fact that she's
a
like, we can
smart,
work with him.
tough
Like,
negotiator.
Yeah, fair
who
enough.
stands
Fair.
up
first
to
time I've
Trump,
actually heard that out of
can
anybody.
activate those Americans who need us, get them to lobby him. That's how we get a win-win outcome. That's how Canada wins.
And now we will move into that first 5-minute debate. Thank you for pointing that
Finally,
out.
we're getting ourselves
this
to
is
a
an open
debate
debate. Mr.
here. Let's
Bayless,
see how
we'll
this
start
goes.
first with you. Others can join in on this debate, but please try not to talk over each
And
other
thank you guys
too
for
much.
the heads
we will
up on
control
the
that.
audio levels.
So
We're trying to work on it.
here's the question.
But keep giving us feedback if
Knowing
it's
the
too loud
why
or too
is
low.
vital in negotiations, or you're essentially just negotiating against yourself. So why is President Trump doing this to Canada?
Well, President Trump needs to show that he has a win on the border. And he's got himself elected by saying he's going to deal with illegal immigration. And right away, he puts out a tweet saying there's a problem with Canada and Mexico. The problem is, for him, there is no problem with Canada. We know it, and the Americans know it. So he's trying to make one so that he can later solve it. Now, I want to point something out. This is not a negotiations. This is a shakedown. We have an agreement. He negotiated the agreement. He signed the agreement. The problem we have is he's not respecting the agreement.
So you believe it's the border, is what I feel for you.
I'm saying that that's his red herring, that he's trying to say we're a problem with the border that he's going to solve.
Ms. Freeland and then Mr. Carney.
Trump is starting with us for a very simple reason. If you can show the world that you can beat up on Canada, your best friend, your reliable, trustworthy neighbor, then think about how the rest of the world feels. It is the demonstration effect. It is saying, if I can beat up on those guys, imagine what I can do to you. And that's why a smart Canadian strategy needs to start with looking for allies, working in the first instance with Mexico, Panama, Denmark, and the EU, who all face the same sovereignty challenge. I think we need to invite the Secretary General of NATO to that first summit that I will host right after becoming Prime Minister.
making a summit?
Working with our allies,
Here we
we
go.
form a common front and stop Trump from doing what he wants to do, which is pick us off one after the other.
Mr. Carney, you're up next.
I want to pick up on what Chrystia just said, because I think underlying all this is what President Trump is looking for is to dominate the hemisphere. He wants to enlarge U.S. power into Canada, into Greenland, into the Panama Canal, as was just mentioned. So the stakes are very, very high. This is a serious crisis, not just an economic crisis, it's a crisis of sovereignty. So yes, we do need to build our allies.
I hate that this is not a debate.
I'm
It's
gonna
just a
add one other thing.
fireside chat.
We'll come back to this later. We also need to build our economy. We need to build our economy right here. If we have one Canadian economy instead of 13, that more than outweighs the impact of what he's trying to do to us.
So,
Ms. Gould? go
yeah,
ahead.
thank you. And where, as I see where my colleagues are going, and I appreciate, I think all of that is probably true, except what did we just see in Ukraine? He did a deal with Putin for critical minerals in Ukraine. Who else has critical minerals? Canada.
So
And
something I
we
want to
need
draw attention to there
understand
when
what
he
the US
said,
is trying to do here. But we
we
also need
have
to make sure that
we
we are
should have
standing up
one
for our
Canadian economy
sovereignty
instead of
and
13.
for our
That to me
economy.
says
Last
I want to
night there was a
strip
bunch
power
of
away from the
conversations with colleagues who
provinces
said, "Well, I'm not even
and
going
put
to
it
talk to
all in
Donald Trump."
Ottawa.
Well,
That
guess
is what is
we don't
concerning
have
about
that
that.
choice.
Like
We have
listen
talk
to
him.
what he's
That
saying
is
between
something
the
that we
lines.
absolutely have to do on behalf of Canadians. We might not like it, but that is the role of the Prime Minister, to stand up and fight for Canada every single day. And that is exactly what I am going to do. Stand up for Canadians, stand up for our industries, and to say that we have leverage, we have things the US wants, and we're not afraid to use them. And if that means that Americans are going to see increased prices or American industries are going to suffer, we will make sure that we put everything on the table as Canada, because our sovereignty, our economy, our jobs are non-negotiable.
Okay, Mr. Bayless, let's try to go 30 more seconds because we have more
So,
interactions here.
Let me tell you the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go fly down and meet President Sheinbaum of Mexico.
Can we
She's
just
a
put
very
this guy on
strong,
mute?
smart lady.
I'm done
And
listening
gonna
to this
make a
guy.
deal
I'm
with
already
her
done
and
with
say,
these
"Look, we need
fools,
to
but I'm
stand up
definitely done with this
together,
guy.
Mr. Trump." He said
Oh
he's
my
putting
gosh.
25% tariffs on both of us. He can't do that. It'll destroy his economy. So we need to call his bluff. And then what we need to do is take off the table what was already given for nothing, which is the work that we were going to do on our border for $1.3 billion and the work that she was going to do on her border, and say, you know what? That's off the table now. We're back to square zero. That's how I will deal with President Trump.
Okay, Mr. Carney, you want to jump in, and then Ms.
Yeah,
Freeland?
let me make 2 points. One is you have to be able to do more than one thing at one time as Prime Minister. So that means building the economy. It means negotiating with allies, leveraging our critical minerals, leveraging our clean energy with those allies. That's critically important. And hitting hard with a real negotiation with President Trump, which includes dollar-for-dollar tariffs, includes using all the cards potentially that we have, and they are considerable, as the U.S.'s largest client.
But yesterday,
Let me get Ms. Freeland in first, and
Let
then
them fight.
With
just one
fight.
second.
The
Ms. Freeland,
thing
and then I'll
to
come to you, Ms. Gould.
recognize about President Trump is, with him, weakness is a provocation and capitulation is not a negotiating strategy. The great thing is right now, Canadians get it. There is this wave of patriotism in Canada, and Canadians are going to stand and
out.
fight for Canada. They need a leader who knows how to lead that fight and rally that wave of patriotism. I'm the leader who can do that.
Ms. Gould.
Thank you. Well,
I heard Mark
one
Carney
thing that I
under
would
his
like
breath
to
there
ask
saying,
Mr.
"Yeah, good
Carney,
point
because
for
yesterday
Christia.
he
Good
made some
point."
mentions of sectors that he would protect over others. And I think what is really important is to understand which sectors you're willing to protect, but which sectors you would negotiate away. And that is something that I think as Canadians we need to understand, because as Prime Minister, I'm not going to negotiate any of those sectors away. I'm going to stand up for people in every single province and territory, every single sector, to make sure that we protect Canadian jobs and protect our industry.
Karina's making a big problem
as
here.
moderator,
She keeps
all
looking
due
at
respect,
the other
I'm gonna try to
candidates and
ask
not
the
looking at the
questions,
camera
but I
or
am
the
gonna
moderator,
give
which
Mr. Carney
is
the
losing her
opportunity
connection with
to
the
respond
audience.
to that as well, Ms.
So
Gould.
let me be clear about a few things. One, not everyone would have watched the debate last night. So in a negotiation, if there are things that should never enter into the negotiation, language, culture,
Moderator.
our water, you
Oh
make
my
clear
God.
at the start of the negotiation that they are off the table. Second thing is that the other aspects, for example, our auto sector, I'll give an example, which is intimately and interconnected with the United States. We're going to negotiate around maintaining a good deal for our auto sector. But that is not the same as accepting a bad deal, Karina.
Well, actually, when it comes to the auto sector,
finally called out
in
Karina.
the
You
previous
called out
NAFTA
Karina.
negotiation, we got a better deal than we had before. We changed the rules of origin for car parts that it gave an advantage to high-wage Canadian workers. That's the kind of approach we need to take.
Ms. Gould, do you want 10 seconds before we move on?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Oh,
we are gonna
Karina
move
just
on
got
then. Thank you.
railroaded
That
by
was
Mark
a
Carney, and
great
she said,
fulsome
"No, I'm
debate.
okay. I'm
We're
not
gonna
saying
move on
nothing about
to
that."
the next section where it's a 1-minute response for this question. So Donald Trump said again yesterday, I'm sure we all know, the 25% tariffs are coming on March the 4th. Only days later, one of you will become the Prime Minister of this country. What is your first move? And again, this was drawn ahead of time. And Mr. Bayless, your start.
So, first of all, I don't take him at his word. He said March 4th, but I would expect him to hit us beforehand, and I expect him to hit us again. What he's going to do is look at industries where he has overcapacity in the United States, because he'll be thinking that's going to hurt the American economy the least, I should say. So where I'm going to be looking at softwood lumber, and I'm going to be looking at dairy as the next two industries he's going to attack. And what we're going to be doing is supporting those industries completely. We're not going to let them take our jobs away, and we're going to be putting into place very intelligent counter tariffs. And then we're going to be waiting, and we're going to be waiting, because he's not going to stop until he gets the lesson that he can't get away with this.
Seriously.
Then what I am going to do is, as I said, I will go down and meet with President Sheinbaum of Mexico, come together with her and say, listen, let's hold the fort together. Let's call him on his 25% tariff bluff. Let's just call it. Tell him, do it. And let's take everything that he already took from us off the table.
Mr. Bayless, thank you. Ms. Freeland, you're up next. And again, days later, it's you that becomes Prime Minister.
I think
What
somebody
is
needs to
your
get
first
Frank off the stage,
My first
honestly.
move
Yeah.
is
Just get him
dollar
off the
for
stage. I don't
dollar
want to hear what he has to say.
retaliation.
Yep,
And
he's
let
done.
me be very clear.
Replace
with
Madala.
President Trump. If I am Prime Minister,
Right?
I will not flinch. We will retaliate. If you hit us, we will hit back. But our retaliation will be a lot smarter than their dumb tariffs. And it's the Wall Street Journal, usually a supporter of Trump, that described this Trump
world?
effort as dumb. Canada, by contrast, is going to be smart. We are going to have a targeted retaliation that exerts maximum pain in the U.S. and does minimum harm to us. We're going to hit Trump's best friends. I will impose a 100% tariff on Teslas. I'm going to hit Wisconsin dairy. I'm going to hit Florida orange juice. And you are going to see a stock market reaction. You're going to see people like the American Farm Bureau complaining about the Canadian potash they need that costs more. And that reaction, that pain, will cause Trump ultimately to back down, just like he did last time.
Ms. Gould, you're up next. Only days later, you become Prime Minister. What's your first move?
My very first move is to call a meeting with the Council of the Federation and bring the premiers together to make sure that we share our plan for Canada, because this is every single province and territory, every business leader in our country, every union leader, every single Canadian. And then to share the plan with the entire country, because Canadians deserve to know what we are doing. Absolutely, we retaliate against Donald Trump. We do a major Team Canada approach in the United States where we engage with American leaders, but also American citizens, because it is American citizens who are going to feel the impact of these tariffs. And we need to let them know that this is not Canada's decision. This is the decision of the United States.
They can dump
And I'm
Karina
gonna
along
call on
with
Canadians
Frank.
to
The pair of them
stop
just
going
can
to Florida,
go. We don't need to hear from them.
Stop buying Florida orange juice, because that's a $50 billion economy in that state alone. Canadians matter to the United States.
Ms. Gould, thank you kindly. Mr. Carney, days later, you become Prime Minister. What's your first move?
Well, I'll pick up on a few things. First, entirely agree with what Karina just said. First item, I would call it a First Ministers meeting as opposed to Council of Federations, but First Ministers meeting, sharing the plan, but also developing our broader response, our broader domestic response, including projects. Secondly, entirely agree with Christian. Dollar for dollar tariffs, maximum impact on the United States, minimal impact here in Canada. Thirdly, put them on notice on the broader aspects of our commercial relationship. We are their largest supplier of energy. We are their largest supplier of electricity. We are their largest supplier of uranium. I could go on, but I will exhaust all my time. There is the first signs in the United States now of the economic impact of the Trump policies. We will amplify that, and that will begin to create the leverage. And then I will call President Trump.
And then you'll call President Trump.
Well, it's going to be a long day.
Oh, now he's going to
Okay,
call
Mr.
President
Carney,
Trump. Got
thank you.
it.
Ms. Gould, this
Tough
is a
guy.
5-minute section, and I'm going to start with you on this. Others can jump in. Again, if we can try not to talk over each other. Ms. Gould, what do you think
worry, that's not
Canada
gonna be an
should be
issue.
doing with our allies? And we did hear some discussion in the opening statements about this, given the shifting geopolitical sands around the globe.
Well, look, I mentioned that over the past week, Donald Trump has been negotiating away Ukraine's sovereignty, and their territorial integrity. We saw President Trump abandon the free world throughout this process. We absolutely need to shore up our allies with democracies around the world because our democracy is under threat. We need to protect the values that we care about. What does that look like? It means reaching the 2% NATO target, not because the US asked us to, but because we need to as Canadians. It means making sure that we stand up for our values around the world, that we continue with our important international assistance. We saw Trump take away from
Man, what's the chat
USAID.
saying? I can't listen to
Canada
Karina
can't
Gould
fill
any
that
longer.
void, but we can maintain our commitments. And it means making sure that we live our values on a daily basis on the international scene. The world needs Canada, and Canada will be there for the world.
Ms. Freeland?
We'll come to the chat once we hit a commercial.
Question, because what is different about this unleashed and empowered President Trump is he is clearly threatening our sovereignty, and we need to respond. For the first time, the U.S., rather than guaranteeing, for the first time since the Second World War, rather than guaranteeing the rules-based order, the U.S. is turning predator. And so what Canada needs to do is work closely with our democratic allies, our military allies. I've been foreign minister. I know how to do that. That's why I would start with our Nordic partners, specifically Denmark, which is also being threatened, and our European NATO allies. I would be sure that France and Britain were there, who possess nuclear weapons. And I would be working urgently with those partners to build a closer security relationship that guarantees our security in a time when the United States can be a threat. And I would also, crucially, reach out to our Asian democratic partners, Japan, South Korea, Australia. They need to be part of the conversation too. We need to be ready for a world where the U.S. is not the leader of the free world anymore. Canada can be and must be a leader in building this new order. Our allies are looking to us. And if we do this, we'll make ourselves safer as well.
Mr. Bayless.
Yeah, thank you. So we're in a lucky position in the sense that Donald Trump has.
All right, so we don't really want to hear from Frank Bayless right now, but I will say this. The chat is blowing up. We love what the chat is saying. People are really complaining right now. Why are we talking about Donald Trump right now? This is about Canada. Well, it's like, well, technically this is about the tariff portion with Trump. That's why they're talking about it so much. But yeah, it's as boring as heck as the chat is saying, and we have to admit it is boring. And I'm at the point where unless someone objects to it, I'm going to keep Karina Gould and Frank Bayless on mute, and we'll talk when they're talking. But we'll like unmute for Carney and Freeland, I guess. But we'll watch half the debate essentially at this point, unless people are objecting. They really want to hear from the other homies.
Yeah, I'm right with you because honestly, like everything that they've said, I don't think is even useful. Like I said, the thing that I thought was most telling was again Mark Carney revealing the whole 13 economies into one. I was like, oh, don't like that. Freeland, we knew that she was like going after that whole like 100% tariff thing.
Oh, era.
Stupid.
Got
Nova
Carney.
Scotia. And I was asked a question by some British journalists about whether the UK and Europe could avoid the impact of President Trump. And I said, good luck with that. Now they're beginning to see the impact. We've seen it through Ukraine and elsewhere. So there is an opportunity, in fact, a necessity, an imperative here for us to work with like-minded countries on the new security architecture. Yes, we have to step up for our contribution. How we protect our Arctic, which is under threat not just now from the Russians and the Chinese, but from potential U.S. incursions. Serious, serious issue. We have to work on our, I'll call it our data architecture, how we're going to handle artificial intelligence. Last point, because a lot of people want to come in.
Yep.
We need to leverage all of our assets from critical minerals to clean energy and well beyond to harden those partnerships in Europe and in Asia with like-minded.
Ms. Gould.
Thank you, Hannah, and thank you.
Well, screw her. Yeah, people are just like, this is so rough to watch, and we're right there with you. It's like watching the paint on my wall dry. This is brutal. And Mark Carney's got some ideas and tries to be smart, but man, this is tough. And I can see it in the chat. Everyone's like, ugh, why am I here? I'm like, well, we'll just try to make you laugh in the process.
Yeah, I'm feeling that too. I'm just like, man, can we do 2 hours of this? Holy crap.
Yeah. All it's gonna be next is gonna be just 2 hours of us just ripping on these people essentially, and people are brought. Holy smokes, we just got a $30 super chat. Good work, Elevate. These people cannot lead us. Sick and tired of them. Right there with you, Greg.
But I
Yeah,
want to be
honestly.
sharing a message from all of us directly with President Trump. What you are hearing from the Liberal Party of Canada is our sovereignty is not negotiable. Canada is not for sale. We are going to stand with all Canadians and not become the 51st state. And Pierre Poilievre wants to imitate you, but we are going to defeat him. And together, we're going to fight for Canada.
So guess what? That question's coming up right now, Ms. Gould, so we can follow up. Mr. Carney, I'll give you the opportunity because today the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced 2.5% of their GDP for defense spending by 2027. Everybody has spoken about boosting our own GDP in different years, so we'll clarify with you. Would you do the same? 2.5% by 2027?
Well, look, the first thing, we're starting from a different position than the UK is. But it also goes to the heart of what we're trying to accomplish. I think this goes to a fundamental point about how to manage government. The outcome here is securing Canada to protect Canadians. Now, I was born in the Arctic, born in the Northwest Territories. I know it well. I know the imperative. The imperative in the Arctic is to have at least 2 new bases in the Arctic, probably Tuktoyaktuk and Inuktitut. We need to build out on NORAD. We need to build out cyber capabilities. We need to build out our frontier. The core point, I will spend defense dollars in Canada, not the 80% that this government has spent in the United States up until now. 80% of capital's defense dollars have gone to the United States. I will spend them in Canada, and I will spend them as rapidly as possible to secure for Canadians. But that is a management thing. It's not an arbitrary target.
Ms. Gould
Dude,
makes
he just
a good
attacked the
point, though.
Liberal Party.
You had mentioned, I think, 2030.
I said by 2030.
Right.
And I said when I said it that we will do faster if we can deploy it faster in Canada. This is a management point. This is a core point about delivering security. And that is the issue, not just pushing money out the door.
1 minute for you, Ms. Freeland.
I think what it is about is will and a plan and commitment to defend our country. So I've put forward a plan to hit 2% by 2027. It is critical that we spend that money here in Canada on Canadian companies, and we need to be thinking about the next generation of warfare, as we're seeing in Ukraine. Drones, AI, these are really important. Our 2% should not be about sending checks to the United States. Critically, we need a plan to defend
and you did that
our own
anyways.
borders, very particularly the Arctic, and we need to be working with our Nordic and EU NATO partners. They have nuclear weapons. We need to say to them, we need a plan to protect and defend our shared Arctic without the US, and Canada will step up because it's our sovereignty that's at stake as well.
Mr. Bayless, you have 1 minute now.
Yeah, so about
Well, that's a minute we can just cruise right by here. So, yeah, it is really insulting. I'm sure the chat's feeling the same. To hear these jabronis say, yeah, we're gonna protect the Arctic. We're gonna spend that money at home. And it is funny to say Carney's saying, I'm not gonna be like this Liberal Party who spent 80% of our defense dollars in the United States. And I was like, whoa, he got a little fire there. That was like the most any type of tension I've seen in this debate between last night and tonight. So this is just, it is what it is. This is what we got, and this is what the Liberals are putting on. I guarantee these guys huddled up before the debate and was like, all right, so this is what we're going to touch on. This is not what we're going to touch on. And we're probably, the moderators making more of a debate with them than they actually are among themselves at this point.
Yeah, and they probably also, while deciding on the things, all kissed each other goodbye as well.
Yeah. Kissed each other's booty holes. Holy jumping. Disgusting. I'm so sick and tired of these people, man. It's unreal. Frank Bayless really using up his 1 minute there. And Karina's got a plan too. She's got a plan to change the world, apparently. I'm dumb.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting that Freeland's like, by 2027, 2% by 2027. How?
Yeah.
You couldn't do it before.
Yep. Why are we going to do it now? That's a great question.
Yeah.
We do not pay our military personnel
Well,
a
Daddy
sufficient
Trudeau
wage in
wouldn't
this
let me.
country. And
True.
they are there for us
Good
when
point.
we need them
Good point.
most. And so we need to pay them more. That's something that I would do immediately as Prime Minister. Second, what can we do? You know, Mr. Carney talked about military procurement, but our military procurement isn't working. We have a lot of orders on the docket. We need a procurement czar to get those orders moving. And while I entirely agree with a Made in Canada solution, we need to ensure that our troops have the equipment, the tools, and the resources that they need to fight and protect us here at home and around the world.
Okay, this isn't a debate period, but I do see everybody wants to jump in. Ms. Freeland and then Mr. Carney.
I just want to push back against the idea that managerial or technocratic obstacles should get in the way of defending Canada. We really need to act with the fierce urgency of now. We need to recognize President Trump has said dozens of times he wants us to be the 51st state. I don't think any of us wants to be the leader who was asleep at the wheel and didn't get Canada defended, did not work with our democratic allies to protect our borders. They want to work with us. It's time for us to step up at home, to urgently reach out to them and build a new world order where democracy and Canadian
Not the New World
sovereignty
Order,
is
NWO.
protected.
Mr. Carney, you're up next.
Oh, no.
I'm going to associate myself, I'm going to agree with that. My only
course you
amendment
are.
I'm going to make is, unfortunately, it won't be a world order. It will be a subset of the world order because the number of like-minded countries is much smaller with the U.S. exiting. But I want to make an important point.
Oh, my gosh.
Because a huge element
Did not just say
of
that.
securing Canada is going to be related to information warfare. It's going to be related to cyber. It's going to be related to artificial intelligence. And it's crucial that we're in Montreal. We're in one of the centers of artificial intelligence excellence. There are others in this country. It's crucial that we're building those capabilities on Canadian technologies, to Canadian values, to protect Canadians, because we can't rely on foreign suppliers for them. That is one of the new realities that are there. So the natural approach here is gone. And that's one of the main priorities I would have in terms of securing Canada.
Mr. Bayless, jump in there.
Yeah, so I would like to give you an example.
So here's the thing, folks. Someone just pointed this out in the chat, and I think this is hilarious. This is nowhere near we have a smaller audience who usually watch this show, and you can see we have like 1.6, 1.7 watching right now, which shout out to all of you who are watching. We love you guys. Reg, currently as we speak, we have more people watching this show than Global News' actual feed at the moment. These guys stink. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh.
Well, it's just wild. I can't believe that that Freeland and Carney both said New World Order, and then Carney going off about it's actually a group of nations that are going to be working together. Yeah, exactly.
Gee,
you mean like a world forum of countries, maybe?
Yeah.
That are focused on economics?
Could it be? I wonder what groups of countries he's talking about.
Yeah.
I can't believe she literally said New World Order. Like those words
know.
came out of her mouth. We're watching this live. Holy smokes.
But then also the information warfare, like that to me says cyber security on what can be said online. Like exactly like the online harms bill just revamped only to a Carney liking.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I'm seeing in the chat, people are reminding me to do my job, which I appreciate it, is hit the like button if you got the chance. Make us look, make the show look even better. We're going to keep smashing Global News and their audience right now. This is hilarious to watch us.
Screw you, mainstream media. Yeah. Screw you.
Screw all of you. Screw the mainstream media. And yeah, this is fantastic. Let's keep this party going and make them look like terrible. Two guys in their basements looking better than these jabronis.
Hey, I'm on ground level.
Oh yeah, you're better than me. You're better than me. We love to see it.
You got a nicer studio than I do, though.
We'll take what we can get, right? I might be in the basement, but at least we got technology, you know?
There you go.
Holy smokes.
And we got our viewers.
Yeah, and we got our amazing viewers here who are all roasting these people like us. It's fantastic. Freeland's jumping in here.
Canada and Canadians. And there is this wave of passion in our country to defend our country. One of the reasons that I decided to run for the leadership is I had a conversation after Trump made his 51st state threat with a couple of very brilliant young technologists who worked with Jeff Hinton, the Nobel Prize-winning father of AI. And they said to me, we know what's happening in Ukraine, and we see how technologists are leading the fight. We are patriotic Canadians. We believe in our country. We need a government that gets that invests in us, because we are ready to stand on guard for Canada. And that is the approach we need to take. I think we need to have confidence that Canadians, empowered and led by a government that believes in them, will do this.
Mr. Carney.
Okay. This is a crucial conversation. And I'm really heartened by both the seriousness, the range of ideas, but I'm going to bring up one related aspect, which Karina just touched on, which is about foreign interference in our democratic institutions. And the responsibility of all politicians, particularly leaders of parties, and certainly a prime minister, is to be fully briefed on these issues. Pierre Poilievre hasn't ever bothered to get his security clearance.
Oh, here we go.
I've already, during this leadership campaign, filled out my forms. It wasn't that hard to do, I have to say. And put them in, and I fully expect
Well, where's your money coming from?
In the near future. This is the kind of irresponsibility at a time when our country is under threat that we cannot afford. We cannot afford a leader like Pierre Poilievre.
Mr. Bayless?
I'd like to just do two things. First of all, clarification on Ms. Gould. I put out
All right, sorry, I got to take some time here for some super chats here. Sorry, folks. The NWO is run by Bill and Hillary Clinton. Bill's the head of the NWO snake. Hillary runs the Clinton brothel. Wow, that is aggressive. Holy jumping. And I know someone said earlier, and I know we just got called that on it. There was one super chat that said that they wish it was Vashi who was running this as a moderator, which I 100% agree with. And sorry that we are missing out on some of these super chats. It's moving a bit quicker than we thought it would, so my apologies on that. We will continue trying to catch up, though. But yeah, this is the fact that bring up the whole security clearance again is just such a tired trope, and I'm so over it. And alas, that's all they got. That is all they got.
Well, it's Trump and Pierre. That's all they've got. They've got no new ideas because they're the same person, but just copied.
I'll start my answer by saying this will be one of my top priorities, jointly with these issues that we just touched on, largely with the U.S. and the threats to our security. A focus on building our economy on several layers. First and foremost, this is a time to build. We have an enormous opportunity to build our economy. That means building millions of homes. We're millions of homes short in this country. Everyone who's trying to buy a home is aware of that, particularly young. It's building infrastructure, both conventional energy infrastructure and clean energy infrastructure. It's building up on the conversation we just had, on intelligence infrastructure. It is diversifying our trade partners with new trading routes, and it's creating one Canadian economy instead of 13. That's what's necessary to move this country forward from where we are today, which has become quite a weak position economically.
We will dig into some
And
of those
whose fault
topics
is
a bit
that?
more. Ms. Gould, you're up next.
Thanks. Thanks, Hannah. I think your question was actually about the cost of living for Canadians. It wasn't about, the macroeconomic picture, which we know is doing okay for Canada. But when Canadians, people,
he
don't
said it
feel
again.
like that, it's
He
not
said that
working for
again
them.
about
I'm glad
the
you-
one economy out of 13. I hate that.
Yeah. It's, at this point, again, trying to make it all one. Just trying to bring it all in together so he can have more control. That is 100% that setup. That is the setup for that conversation.
Yeah, it's consolidation of power.
100%. Brobo Fett says, thoughts on SNC Lavalin for the high-speed rail? Absolutely yes. It's an idea that came up back in 95, and they are continuing to only bring this up when they need a home run. If it's not going to be abortion, it's going to be SNC rail. That's 100% what it's going to be. It's not going to be built anytime soon if it's touched at all. That's what I think about SNC Lavalin high-speed rail. And I hate everybody. I'm just kidding. I love you guys all. I love you all. You guys are fantastic. I just hate this debate. And I hate looking at Bayless's face. I'm sure he's a great gentleman. Maybe he's awesome. I'm just tired of looking at him. Holy jumping. So over it.
The funny part is I just got an email come in because I'm registered as a federal Liberal, so I can vote in this thing. And I got an email that came in. It was just like, Frank Bayless is killing this debate. I'm
Is
like,
he? Is he?
What?
Yeah, he's killing me. That's what he's doing. Holy shit.
Yeah, seriously. Killing a good night.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, again, this is supposed to be what 2 hours are saying. We're barely through hour 1, dude. I don't know if I can keep doing this. I might go to sleep.
I don't know either.
I might just try to record. Go.
Yeah. Why don't we just talk to the chat?
Yeah.
Honestly, it'd be more fun.
Yeah, seriously. That's why I had to mute half these friggin' speakers because this is brutal. I'm curious if they're going to get to anything interesting. The only reason I want to keep watching is because I know at some point tonight, Mark Carney is going to fumble. He's already a couple times forgotten what he's about to say and try to switch up. That happened twice already tonight. Here's Freeland.
They have to start with an effective response to President Trump. He is the biggest economic menace our country and Canadians are facing. I have a plan to make us united, strong, and smart, and to win. I think we also all recognize that President Trump is also handing us a golden opportunity. Canadians right now really get how wonderful Canada is, and they understand we're under threat. And so today we have a chance, a once-in-a-generation chance to make Canada stronger, richer, more prosperous, more resilient.
I thought you were going to say I'm going to make Canada great again. That would have been hilarious.
I'm going to cut interprovincial trade barriers. I'm going to cut red tape and get things built. I'm going to use government procurement not to send checks to the US, but to invest in Canadian jobs and Canadian companies. That's how we make Canada stronger, more resilient. That's how we stand up to President Trump.
We are going to move into the 5-minute section, so I'm just going to lead off.
Says they're about to go into debates. I'm going to hit these super chats quickly. We got first super chat here. It says this is a straight up usurpation of the UNUF without firing a shot. Canada will go full communist. Carney has the king on damn near speed dial. Interesting statement. Next one was Carney talks like my accountant wife writes bullet points. It comes off unnatural. You're not wrong, folks. You are not wrong.
To affordability. You know, what's happened in this economy over the last 5 years is that people's wages have not kept up with the rise in prices. So we've had the average family of 4, their food basket has gone up by more than 25%. Their wages haven't kept pace with that. So, and we see the growth in food banks, but we see everyday middle-class families struggling as a consequence of it. So a huge range of things need to be done to improve affordability. And let me list some of those because they're crucial. The first thing is my government will make a middle-class tax cut. Secondly, my government will remove, as Ms. Freeland will, remove the GST for first-time home buyers. This is a crucial point, getting on the home ladder. We need to, if we have one Canadian economy, we can reduce prices by 15%. If we have greater competition in our economy, which my government will deliver, in groceries, in broadband, in transportation, that will bring prices down. That will help people move ahead. So we have to tackle the affordability issue across the board. Last point, absolutely have to keep in place the progress that the government has made on crucial things such as childcare, on dental care, and farmer care, because that helps those who are most vulnerable.
We'll talk a little bit about healthcare soon too. Ms. Gould, you're up next.
Yeah, man, chat's cracking me up. There's one person who just said, Freeland's always looking like she's shaking an imaginary box, and that's exactly what it looks like. Y'all are cracking me up. Y'all the only ones that are keeping me going right now because this is, someone said it looks like a funeral, except for it's just all red. So it's the death of their party. That's what it is. Holy smokes.
It's the death of any fun and excitement in life. I don't know. It's just boring as all hell.
Yeah.
And
I was today, just for kicks and giggles, I was watching the old CSFN debate for the conservative leadership debate back in 2022. And they were going at each other's throats. Leslie Lewis went at Pierre Poilievre. You haven't been clear about abortion. What's it going to be? Are you pro-life or are you pro-choice? You got to pick one because the liberals are going to drill you on it. I was like, yo, this is a debate. This is amazing. But here we go. We have
And
NP
so-
Nation in the house. They say, hey, y'all. What's up, Northern Perspective Nation? How y'all holding up? Holy jumping. We love you guys.
Yeah. When is the commercial coming? Holy crap.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to hit us in about 10 minutes here. I think it's only one break, and it's going to be at exactly the halfway mark here. Oh, here we go, Freeland.
Childcare mentioned. As finance minister, one of the things I was so grateful to be able to do was to introduce in my first budget a national system of early learning and childcare. And it was wonderful to work first with Ahmed Hussein, get that first crucial deal with BC and a bunch more. And then Ahmed handed the baton to Karina, and we worked together. This is generational. It's transformational for Canada. My affordability plan includes 100,000 more childcare places. It includes a middle-class tax cut. It includes a cut on credit card fees. It includes a cut on taxes for first-time home buyers. And the critical thing for us to all remember is the real threat to Canadian families, the real threat to people working really hard and struggling to get by is not anyone on this stage. It is Pierre Poilievre. He will cut.
Dang straight.
He will bring in a cruel austerity that will hurt all the people in Canada who need the help the most. And that's why I'm proud to be a Liberal, and that's why I'm running to be the next leader of our party.
Mr. Bayless, I'm trying to pick up some time here. 30 seconds to you.
And a lead dropped in $50 on us. Thank you so much. Means the world. You guys are unreal. Stanislav Kogan says they are desperately covering up for all their... They are desperately covering up all their stealing with pseudo-patriotism. And I'm like, yeah, we're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, definitely agree. I wrote back to them. I was like 100% because I definitely agree with that.
Dude, it's like, yeah, it is like quite offensive to see themselves wrap themselves in the flag when it's convenient. Tired of it. It's just kind of an ugly thing. And so when you especially see when I tweeted out about what's his face, Dean Blundell, talking about we need to be part of the European Union. I'm like, are you drunk?
Yeah, gross.
Are you drunk? What's wrong
No
with you?
thanks.
Paula Park dropping $5 on us. Let's go. And we have Dan Brown saying, how the F is this a debate? They are not debating. Like, you're not wrong. They're all touching each other. And
Our
stuff.
economy over the last 5 years
That's what we said.
has been
It's
driven
not a debate.
by a big increase in the labor force, which was largely because of a surge in immigration that is now trying to be controlled, and by government spending that grew over 9% year after year after year, twice the rate of growth of our economy. Okay, so our economy was weak before we got to the point of these threats from President Trump.
Yeah.
That's why we need big changes. That's the reason I'm here. That's why we need big changes to how we're managing this economy. I want to make one last point, which goes to workers.
Okay.
My plan, it's a time to build across this economy. We can go into more detail. It is going to be a great time going forward to be a worker in Canada. It is going to be a great time to be in the trades in Canada because we are going to build this country across this country for Canadians and with Canadians.
Ms. Gould, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. We are out of time, but I want
Thank you.
to...
Look, I'm not going to talk down.
Wow, she's already a second, a last thought over here on the stage. So they're already pushing her off. She's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to, the chat is hilarious. It's a love fest. The next person, it's a pillow fight. Someone says math debating.
Oh gosh. Y'all are savages, and I am here for
Love
it.
you guys.
You guys are amazing. And we love Jasmine's like getting hot in the chat down there. Love to see it. But yeah, it's the whole thing here. Well, what I can't remember what freaking Carney just said, but I just knew I was shaking my head at it. But whatever.
He was saying that, over the past 5 years, like this economy is like basically falling apart. It's like,
Oh, right,
that's
that's
when
what it
you
was.
entered the picture. That's when you came in.
Yeah.
Like,
You were a part of it. You advised on it. Your plan caused it. Actually, your plan was the one that Freeland put forward and that she didn't want to take the fall for. And that's why she quit. That's where we're at. But yeah, but you're the person who's going to fix it. Yes, typical government. Holy jump.
Yep.
As Liberals, we have to remember the great legacy of Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin. We are the party that believes in social policy and economic policy. We know how to deliver jobs and growth, and we know how to support people. We believe in both, and that is the kind of party and that is the kind of government I will lead as Prime Minister.
We're going to have one more 1 minute issue, and we can talk about all of the other stuff in that as well. So I'm going to start, this is supposed to be with Ms. Freeland as well on this one because it was previously drawn. As Prime Minister, and we're coming back to what we were talking about when it comes to managing the nation's books, how would you manage the nation's books at this critical time? And of course, you were the former finance minister.
Yeah, well, I would start by pushing back very forcefully against Conservatives who talk Canada down. The reality is Canada has a strong fiscal position. We have a AAA credit rating, and we have the lowest debt and the lowest deficit in the G7.
And the lowest
GDP. That was important for me to maintain a fiscally responsible position because I know that we have needed to keep our fiscal firepower dry because I saw that Trump was coming. Today, we need to seize the opportunity that Trump presents us to harness this wave of Canadian patriotism and to build a Canadian economy which is even stronger with more jobs, more investment, more prosperity. And critically, we need to remember that standing up to Trump is the foundation of all economic policies, and there could be some pain involved. The government has to be there to support workers, to support businesses. As Prime Minister, you have my commitment that I'll do that.
Mr. Bayless, your 1 minute starts now.
So as I mentioned,
Yeah, I love that they started off with, how are you going to deal and handle the finances? Well, I guess we'll start with the finance minister, Chrystia Freeland. I'm going to start by saying, addressing the Conservatives who talk Canada down. What?
I know.
What's that have to do with finances? What are we doing here?
Yeah. And I also love that she's like, we have the lowest debt in the G7. It's like, per capita? No. But maybe by like, if you're comparing the debt to a country of 400 million.
Yeah. Yeah, we look great compared to the United States on that metric for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm here for it. Yeah. That's the one thing I will always get me through dark times. The dark nights, things where it looks a little bleak. As I always look for the chat. W is in the chat, folks. You guys are hilarious. You guys are just murdering everybody right now. We're here for it.
ones that are hurting, such as, for example,
Ms. Gould, you're up next.
Thank you, Hannah. Look, I'm all for increasing productivity. And in fact, last week, I announced a plan to create 1 million new entrepreneurs in this country. I'm the daughter of a small business owner. I grew up working in the family business, and I think we need to unleash that economic potential.
Also, I just want to say
if someone tells you that
Cardex in the chat says, take a shot for every time someone says, let me be clear. It's like, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that
honestly,
would make this so much more fun.
I should have brought my whiskey down here with me. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, seriously.
Yep. Oh man, people actually putting W's in the chat. Let's go. NWO. No. New World Order. My internal wrestling child is just beaming right now with NWO references. Oh boy. Let's keep fighting the good fight, y'all.
get to when we eventually win. Thank you.
Mr. Carney,
This is a group project.
Okay, well, it was my privilege to work with Paul Martin when he balanced the books and kept the books balanced. And one of the lessons of that is the need for government to continue to focus on how effectively it is spending precious taxpayers' dollars. In other words, a focus on the outcomes of programs as opposed to the dollars going in. And one thing you can see is that the scale of increase in spending and the scale of increase in the public service hasn't been matched by greater productivity in certain areas. So the focus does have to go to that in order to create the room and maintain the room for those social programs, because that is what the Liberal Party is about. One of the core things, which is to manage responsibly our fiscal position so that we can support the vulnerable in society, so we can move forward as a society. So we need to spend less and invest more as a country.
We're going to move into a
So I just want to shout out Michael, who just said, hey, yo, who knows exactly what that reference is. I love that. Scott Hall, shout that out. Back to the super chat says Devil's Dog says they would be drowning in their own tears if Ruby was there. And you're not wrong. You are dead on with that one. And Stanislav Kogan says the Lib Party is basically the embodiment of participation trophies at the highest level. Let me be clear, is Freeland's tell for lying? And you just said as well, you followed that up, Reg, with Carney's too.
Trade is the standout example, and we now have the will to do it. Recognizing foreign credentials of people who are already here, you know, that famous person we all know who is driving a taxi but is a nurse or a doctor, that's another example. Another one is just cutting red tape to get big projects built. But we're coming to the end of the economic section, and I do want to talk about a part of the economy where there have been huge leaps in productivity, which is central to Canada's resilience and economic strength,
Green Slush Fund?
particularly as we face up to Donald Trump, and that is rural Canada and our farmers. I am the daughter of a farmer. I grew up on a farm. There are no people in Canada or the world who work harder than farmers. And I do think it's really important for us to have government policies that support our farmers. They give us food security. They are an important source of strength when it comes to this standoff with the US. And we need to be very clear with Canada's dairy farmers that we will stand for supply management. I mean, isn't it a good thing that we produce our own milk, our own eggs, our own butter, our own cheese, that we're not dependent on US factory farms for that? So
what a thought.
We need to remember and stand with our farmers.
Ms. Gould.
Okay. I'm going to, oh my gosh. You guys have been demonizing farmers for how long? You've been trying to put them out of business so they essentially become corporate owned or government owned. You can tell me I'm lying, but that's just the reality in terms of the implementation of policies they put on our farmers, and that's where that leads. Now you're going to come out and say, our farmers are awesome. They're great people. I love them. Shut up. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I'll let you go, Red.
No. Nobody's buying this. Nobody's buying this. The amount of taxes that they're going to apply to fertilizer so that people can actually grow grain in their fields, stupid. We're going into a food crisis, and they want to tax farmers.
Yeah, they just want to. They'll blame Putin for the elevated prices in manure. So. Golly, oh man, I'm trying to keep up the super chats here. Faye dropped $14 on us. Huge, big moves here. Appreciate it, Faye. Oh man, I will catch up with these other super chats. It's just not populating for me at the moment. I will get to them though.
I've got Pat here. He says, "This is autism beyond the farthest frontier of autism known to man." Gave that one a like.
Oh man. I'm not saying nothing about that one.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You're being more democratic than I am right now. And Stanislav Kogan says, "And who multiplied the red tape? Damn." Exactly.
Yep. Who did it? We want to know.
I wanted to jump in on that, and then Mr. Carney after that.
So when we talk about productivity,
we don't care about you. Yeah, people are, you guys are ridiculous, but we're here for it. We love the Elevate fans. You guys are amazing. I just saw one comment says, "You guys are great. Love the work you're doing, but I can't watch this anymore. I'm going to bed." And for that, I can't blame you. This debate stinks. And because of that, I can't even get up to do a morning show tomorrow because I'm just going to go straight to bed after this. I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Also, just me, Nicole threw in a super chat there. She says, policies, more policies, of course.
Yeah. Just more of it. We want more policies, apparently. And again, the threat again of we have to fight Polyev and the cuts that are coming. Yeah. I wonder why. Why do the cuts have to come?
Yeah. And then we got another one from Eric Desjardins. With the amount of times that Trump has been mentioned in this debate, you'd think we already became the 51st state by now. Right?
Yeah, I thought it was. I woke up this morning and became American. That's what I thought already. Holy jumping. Oh, all right, Mark Carney, what are you
had
saying?
productivity. That's the issue. It's that their wages aren't keeping pace with prices. That's because they're not being given the right tools to work with. We're not working as smart as we should. So that's the challenge that we're talking about. And that's the result, and that's the connection. As Prime Minister, you need to make the connection between policies that make that difference that go to families. So both are connected. A couple quick points. Number one Canadian economy will drive huge productivity. Secondly, productivity in government, as Frank just says, I won't go on about it, but it's absolutely essential. We have not had the productivity we need in government. Thirdly, the two big drivers of productivity going forward will be the energy transition and AI.
Okay, I'm going to give you each 15 seconds. Ms. Freeland, with you first.
Making Canada more productive, which just really means making us all more prosperous, means we have to invest in infrastructure. Yeah. We have to invest in physical infrastructure. That's why I'm so supportive of high-speed rail. We also have to invest in social infrastructure. That is infrastructure too. And early learning and childcare is such a great example because this is a policy which makes life more affordable for families. It makes kids smarter because it's so high quality, and it adds to the labor force without requiring any new homes. So physical infrastructure, social infrastructure, and we have the national will to really do this because we know we need to be more resilient because we're at this critical moment for our country, facing the need to stand up to Trump and defend our sovereignty and our economy.
That was not 15 seconds, but we'll try again. Karina Gould, 15 seconds for you, and then I am going to give Mr. Bayless.
A little hostility up
Prime
here.
Minister is to.
Oh man, yeah. There's one person who just says, "What? I can't hear what they're saying. These guys keep talking over them." And to that I say, go to global with their 2 viewers. Enjoy that over there because you're just going to get us ripping on these people because we are only playing Mark Carney and Freeland's responses. If you want the full thing and want to watch Fred Bayless talk about nothing, go over to Global News right now, please.
Yeah. And we got a super chat here from Ken Fitzgerald. Like watching SCTV half-wits. Yes.
Oh, man. And Frank Logan just dropped $100 on us. Why? I appreciate it so much, but I'm grateful. Nothing but grateful and nothing but gratitude. And Stanislav Kogan says, TDS sufferers should remember that the main word in TDS is derangement and not Trump.
And those are people who take risk for our country.
Okay, we are going to move on to our third theme this evening. I want to thank you for that last one. It was a really good debate. And we're going to start with you, Ms. Gould, on this one. This is a 1 minute, so each of you are going to get 1 minute to respond to this. In 2015, Justin Trudeau swept to power in large part because young Canadians, they liked him.
This was a really good debate. No, it wasn't.
It's
terrible.
Today,
this was not a debate.
Age group is really moving towards the right. What will you do as Prime Minister to win back the support of that age group?
Thanks, Hannah. Well, maybe the debate.
Don't care. Oh, John, it's Clocaine says, I'll drop a Vince McMahon on you. Man, anyone who drops wrestling references will always have my heart. I appreciate it so much. And a lot of people are saying they appreciate this whole muting Gold and Frank Bayless or Fred Bayless, whatever his name is, and then hearing us talk and talk trash. And for that, we love that for you guys. But yeah, it's like what I'm seeing currently is we're seeing, the different why am I spacing the name of it? When we poll people, the polls. That's what we look at the different polls. It's getting late, okay, folks, and we're seeing how close the lines are starting to converge between conservatives and liberals. But then you see how many people are tuning in on Global, how many people are tuning in on CBC to watch these four talk. No one cares. What I'm seeing in the polls is not matching what I'm seeing when they go do their speeches, not matching when I see when they're out and doing TV events. I'm just not seeing it. And so I'm having a hard time really believing, is this where it's at? Or is it just a big bounce because something is new?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's painful. And also thank you so much, Frank. Again, like that's huge. We really appreciate it. It helps us do what we do and really appreciate it.
The responses though, dang bro, share the wealth. My dog has a bad coke problem. Oh my gosh, I can use that for gas or groceries, man. Boba Fett, yo, we appreciate the love, honestly. Pat says Carney's testosterone blood levels just came in 102 NGDL. Oh my gosh, you guys are savages, honestly.
Irish Outlaw just threw us another $2. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Holy gosh. Oh, y'all are amazing. Amazing human beings. I made it because I'm alone in a basement tonight. So watching the liberals talk stupidness. Here we are. But I am genuinely curious if people are feeling like I'm just when I go to you go and watch a Polyev rally or an event, the energy is palpable. I'm just not seeing it with Carney's rallies. And again, I don't want to use it as a barometer because clearly you can say what you want about the 2020 election, but Biden had no one showing up at his rallies and he still managed to win. So I don't want to use that as a barometer, but it is wild.
At the heart of it was we recognized the pain that middle-class Canadians, including young Canadians, were feeling. And we recognized and identified that Stephen Harper led a lackluster recovery from the 2008 financial crisis. We pointed that out and we said we are going to invest for jobs and growth. Today, we need to do the same thing and we need to focus on affordability for young people. I have a plan to do that. Cut taxes for first-time home buyers. Cut taxes for the middle class. 100,000 new childcare places. Cap credit card fees. We need to be there for young Canadians so that they can know if they work hard, study hard in the free trade schools I will offer them, they can have a great Canadian middle-class life.
Mr. Carney, you're next.
Okay. Are we going to talk about housing?
We're getting there.
Okay, good. Because housing's central to this, but I want to add to
Shut up.
the opportunity set for younger Canadians, which has shrunk in recent years. Let's expand it. Let's expand it in all aspects of what we're doing. First and foremost, it's a time to build, as Ms. Freeland just said.
Time to build.
Focus on infrastructure, building this economy out. There is a huge range of opportunities that comes. As I say, for the next 25 years, being in the trades, fantastic if we follow through with the promise there. That's the first. The second is, as Mr. Bayless said, let's look at our universities. Their funding is being squeezed and has been squeezed, and it's been made up by having foreign students. That's come to an end. We need to be there for our universities or we're going to miss the opportunity. Thirdly, we need broad-based skills training. The federal government has a role there. We need to leverage AI and others to deliver it.
Okay, we are going into a 5-minute debate now. And Ms. Gould, I'm going to start with you again.
Oh my gosh. To say that Harper led a lackluster recovery is disgusting. I can't believe those words came out of her mouth. I can't believe she said that. That's crazy.
Yeah. We got another couple super chats here. So Jessamine Nicole, Michael Cooper dropped a video congratulating Singh on his pension today.
Saw that. That was great. That was awesome.
RC Lamoureux, Canadians are wonderful people. These criminals have taken advantage of the people's integrity. They all belong in jail. Amen.
Preach it. And Joe Duracell says, watching Carney's like a Mr. Bean show. And Eric Turgeon said, if good is a boring debate, oh, we're screwed. Yeah, it's we're just trying to keep it semi-entertaining. But honestly, the reality is the chat is keeping this entertaining. You are keeping my spirits up.
Honestly, it's you guys. It is you guys.
It's all you guys. You guys are amazing. Hilarious.
I gotta go get some Gatorade or something to stay awake because this is so boring.
Yeah, stay hydrated, y'all. Stay hydrated. Because this is, I literally thought we were going to be getting a commercial break. I guess they're just going for a full 90 minutes. So we might end this in 15 minutes, I should say. This is great. Any more questions to Freeland from 4-year-olds? Watch your eyes, says. And I'm wondering too. I wonder how many of those 4-year-olds they're polling these days to see who they're voting for. Very curious. And Mark Carney makes me want to go live in a bush in northern Saskatchewan for duck's sakes.
True.
Oh, man. And Chris Sock on a Witch says, this is fun. I'm glad you're having fun, Chris. I'm crying. So here we are.
I'm glad you're here with us, man.
Yeah. We love that you're with us and we can keep the good vibes going. Here's Freeland saying
Hear
something.
that question from so many younger people who are just frustrated that they're worried that they've lost out on getting into the housing market and maybe the kind of life that their parents had is not going to be available to them. It is absolutely essential for us as a country that we say, we're not going to let that happen. And if young Canadians work hard, have a good job, studied hard, and they want to own a home, we have to make that dream of home ownership achievable. I have a plan to do it. It starts with cutting taxes for first-time home buyers to give them a leg up in the housing market. I'm so glad to hear so many people mentioning the first home savings account. I introduced that as finance minister. I think it is a great way for young people to save for that first home, and I would increase the amount of money that people can put in that first home savings account. Free trade school is going to help people get that first home too, because it will mean there are more skilled tradespeople to build those first homes people need. And then finally, I just want to say, some people are going to want to buy their own home. Some people want to live in affordable housing or maybe a co-op. I lived in a co-op. One of my aunts still lives in the co-op she and my mom helped build. There is, though, someone in Canada who does not believe in affordable housing.
There we go.
Who does not believe in co-ops. Pierre Poilievre
There
has
it is.
actually called them Soviet-style housing. And so we all need to be very, very clear. We must defeat him because some Canadians need affordable housing too.
Mr. Bayless, you're up next.
Yeah, some of Canadians need affordable housing. Yes, like all of us. We all need affordable housing. That's what we need. We had a super chat come in saying, oh, I'm losing my super chats here. These four need to be reminded that Poilievre is not running for the Liberal leadership. He's not their competition right now, which I understand to a degree. But even when the Conservatives were doing their leadership race, it was all about Trudeau. It naturally, if you are going to be the leader of the party, you are going to be going against Poilievre. So I understand that that needs to come up. But it is frustrating that he tends to be brought up more than, say, the other people are debating on that stage. So I will say that much. I only stopped talking because I thought Reg was going to say something, but that was awesome.
No, I was reading the chat, man. I was honestly reading the chat because like it's what's giving me life here because this is brutal.
Yeah. This is why this chat, I'm telling you right now, this chat is the reason CBC turns off their comments because you guys tear everyone up.
I love it though. I mean,
great.
I can't believe they turned it off.
They can't handle the truth.
At 10 times salary point, we need to double the rate in order to even have the places for those people. We obviously need to get those incomes up at the same time. So there's two questions here. How do we get the rate of home building going from $250,000 a year to $500,000? We're going to need changes to how we build homes, much more technology, much more modular homes. We're going to need a big surge, as was just mentioned, in tradespeople who can build those homes. We're going to need to cut the fees in municipalities for developers. The federal government has a role to play there. We have a housing accelerator fund that's working. I would supercharge that as part of this. And then on the other side of the equation, we need to make it more affordable, particularly for young people, to buy those homes. Now, removing GST on first-time home purchases, that's 5% off the home, which is a substantial proportion of the down payment. There's other financing mechanisms that come with that. But in the end, and let me finish on this will come back to our ability to build a strong economy. It's not just building the homes, it's building the strong economy so people can catch up.
We're going to move on to our next segment. It's not the segment, another theme, but this is an important topic. Canadians are worried they can't access a doctor or a nurse. What would you do as Prime Minister, working with the provinces, of course, because it is provincial jurisdiction, and territories to help solve this issue? And Mr. Carney, you are up first on this one.
Well, this is a crucial issue. Across the country, virtually without exception, in fact, I would say without exception, access to a doctor, in many cases access to a healthcare professional, is not possible. Healthcare is a right in Canada. We are not living up to our commitments. And this is not as simple as saying, I'm not saying you implied this, that it's a provincial jurisdiction. So first and foremost, We have to meet our responsibilities as the federal government in terms of the healthcare transfers, but we have to do a lot more. We have to make sure, and we should be part of this, that healthcare professionals can move across this country as readily. So a nurse in Quebec can go to Alberta, can go to Northwest Territories, and practice immediately. We have to make it easier for foreign health professionals to work more rapidly. We have to increase productivity in the health sector. Mr. Bayless has ideas on that, including on portable data, portable health records, which are crucial, but a broader use of AI, and us, last point, us as the federal government, accelerating those changes to deliver what Canadians deserve as Canadians, and we're nowhere close yet.
Ms. Gould, you have 1 minute on the clock now.
Thank you. My goodness. I mean, this is something that
Ken Age is coming in hot, which I appreciate. We love Ken. Ken's amazing. He's a great dude. He's saying, let me pull that up here. He's saying, great job, fellas. We need the Kachucks to spice things up. And that is a hockey reference, and I'm so here for it. We love you, Ken. You're amazing.
Somebody wrote in the comments, they're like, Reg with the pen, looking very smart. Like, I'm actually taking notes. I don't know if you can see, but yeah. Also got another super chat in here. It says, basically copy and paste from PP.
And AI. Yeah, it's amazing. He literally is just talking Pierre's ideas. Yeah, it's actually, it's not just building the homes, it's also building a strong economy. I was like, whoa, he almost dropped a Pierre line there. Be careful.
Yeah. They talked about free trade school to build more homes. I'm like, do you not understand why people are not building homes? It has nothing to do with the trades. Like, the skilled labor shortage is not the pivotal part of this. Like,
yeah,
come on.
It's all those things. Steel, I think, is one of the things that's the issue here.
Interest rates, maybe.
Ooh, but that's his one thing he's good at, moving the interest rates up and down, right? Just like a slider, up and down. That's what he does best. I saw one person says, I would never want to go to a movie with you guys. And to that, I say, us neither. That's why I don't go to Cineplex with Reg, because it would be annoying.
That's okay. I think I spice up my movies.
Oh, what the frig? It's not that kind of after hours. What are you doing? Oh, we jumped.
Josh, you'd be so lucky. Come on.
Okay. Take it easy. We're live on YouTube here. We don't want to get shut down because it's getting a little too weird. You know what I'm saying?
This is PG.
We're keeping it peachy. Tim O'Leary says, great show, boys. I love to just spout off on the Liberals. So good. You know, I'm glad we could do it for you. We're here for it.
Yeah. This person, permits cost too much and take forever. Exactly. It's the fact that the building code is like this thick now. It's the fact that permits take years. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
In the Canadian healthcare system. A few days ago, I spoke to a nurse practitioner. Her name was Kathy in Riding Mountain. Hi, Kathy. I hope you're listening. She's a Liberal.
One of the 900.
She talked to me about how much she loves her job and cares for her patients, but how much of a strain the strain on the healthcare system imposes on her, too. So thank you very much. We do have to make it better. We have to make it better by training more doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners here in Canada, by recognizing foreign credentials and by allowing credentials to be portable across the country, by inviting the great doctors and nurses, Canadian ones, in the US who want to come home, encouraging them to come home, making it possible. And finally, we need to be clear with Canadians who care about their healthcare system. You cannot trust Pierre Poilievre with our universal single-payer healthcare system. All he believes in is cuts, cuts, cuts. And that is one of the things that motivates me as a Liberal to defeat the Conservatives in the next election.
We are going to go into an open debate section here on this. And Mr. Bayless, yes, I will start with you on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, cuts. We've gone over this plenty of times. Someone just called you out in the chat, Reg. They said it's the local government's problem of why things aren't getting built. It's not the federal government's problem. You're on mute, by the way. Light them up, Reg.
Oh, I think that's hilarious. Because you have to realize it's the national building code that is the problem. And it's the fact that it's the national interest rates that are set by the Bank of Canada that are making it unaffordable to build homes, to buy the supplies to build the homes. Like, no, I'm not saying that the local levels are, getting off scot-free either, but yeah.
Yep, I agree. And since we're talking, if it was only a local issue, then I don't think it would be a topic of a conversation in the Liberal leadership debate. Just putting that out there.
Across the country, maybe,
Yeah, it's a crazy thought. Shameless vote buying coupled with FUD. Yep, that's spot on.
The other part of it too is the fact that because I can talk about this because it was from my previous job, not my current one, but I was actually working on the foreign credentialing thing. Like, we want strong credentialing because we don't want people coming in who don't actually know what they're doing, working as doctors, working as nurses. Like, we want to make sure that we're only getting the best in our healthcare system.
100%. And what is it? Yard Prep says, bombard CTV comments when the stream is done. Pat says, hopefully after the circus, I have enough brain cells left to not shit on the floor. Wow.
You and I both, man.
Oh my gosh.
You and I both.
What a comment. Oh, y'all, you guys are wild. Someone just said that we might be fun to hang out at a hockey game with. And I'm like, you know what? You're not wrong. I think we've gone to lacrosse games with people before. We are a good time.
We are a good time in a hockey game.
I do.
I tried to invite Josh. To a box seat hockey game, but he chose his wife over me. So
100% wife is getting chosen every time. I will say it out loud right now. And as well, the moose heads are really hard to get up for. I'll tell you that much. Even for box seats, I'll be admit. Especially when Canada was playing Sweden. Kill me. Sorry.
We were watching both at the same time. Not gonna lie.
Love that. It's amazing. Yeah. Gee.
Workers are working around the clock.
Are they?
They're doing everything they can to provide patients the care that they need, but the system itself.
If Trump would be so kind as to revoke all tariffs on election day so that the Liberals would have a useless platform, it's all they talk about. What a crazy move that would happen if he did do that. But it can't happen on election day. It would have to be like a week before the election.
Yeah.
Just drop them. Like, oh, who am I voting for? Oh, here we go. Mark Carney, let's go.
Service that we've received from our healthcare professionals over the course of the last 5 years. The enormous strains of working under the pandemic. Then the enormous strains that come after that on these professionals who are there at the front lines for us day in, day out, through the night, of a system that is short on resources, a system that has chronic care challenges as we age. We have a responsibility as the federal government to be part of the solution here. And we have an opportunity to make a systemic change because of technology. And if we have an openness, the provinces have an openness to use that in a way that empowers nurse practitioners, pharmacists, doctors, to provide a broader range of services to more people, more effectively. Last point, the federal government can help with that transition, can help with the leverage, and can help drive that change.
Ms. Freeland.
Well, Hannah, you asked, does money matter? And I do think it's really important for Liberals in particular to be clear, money does matter and money helps. And so I was really glad to be finance minister when we stepped up federal government support for the healthcare system, $200 billion. We saw that the healthcare system was under unbearable strain after COVID and that Canadians were suffering, and we stepped up and we made that commitment. I think we also have some real opportunities. Technology is a huge enabler, and I have seen in Toronto, at the University of Toronto, some amazing AI technologies being used to deliver better care in emergency rooms, better care for people after surgery. And not only is the care better, it costs less money and takes less time of trained healthcare professionals. So there are real opportunities. But I just want to conclude by saying something about the provinces. I think that transparency, is the winning ticket here. And having real transparency on healthcare outcomes across the country would help all Canadians, and it would help Canadians to see what's working and what isn't. But I do want to say to the premiers of the provinces and territories, I respect your work running the healthcare systems. It's really, really hard. And as Prime Minister, I would work really collaboratively with you and would recognize you want a healthcare system that works too, and you are the ones who are running it.
We are going to give 15 seconds to Ms. Gould and 15 seconds to
I really do 100%, but like that's exactly what's happening. They definitely spoke beforehand and they said, we cannot afford any of us to get at each other because the Conservatives will use it as fuel moving forward. So we just really got to, we'll state our platforms and move on. We can't disagree on anything. It's really how it feels. Thus why they made sure Ruby couldn't get in, because she would have flipped this whole thing upside down. It would have been wild to watch.
Oh yeah, immediately. And it's funny because like they're talking so much about healthcare, and like some of the things that they're talking about, the provinces are already doing. And it's like, if you actually listen to the provinces, you would have known that by now.
Yeah.
And the other part is like health outcomes is something that CIHR, which is our National Institute of Health Research, they already do that. Like that's already something that's recorded.
Gee, and Stanislav Kogan says, an exercise in sesquipedalian idiocy. And that, my friends, don't ask me to define, because Stanislav's got a higher IQ than I do, clearly, or at least a higher vocabulary. But we're here for it. Appreciate it.
This is a choir practice, not a debate. Yep. What did Kamala just say? Oh my God.
Yeah, it really is. Like, it does feel scripted. 100%. It really does.
Yeah, it is a clown show. Brainwashing 101, 100%.
Yeah, it's like, it just, there's nothing about this that feels good.
Or
And-
genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I might, honestly, I'm getting to the point where I might just, I'm going to show a highlight from one of the Conservative debates.
Do it.
And just for kicks, because I think it's hilarious. And I'll let this play. And as I go search that up.
Yes, I support ending the consumer carbon tax, and to be absolutely clear, that's on consumers, it'd be on small businesses, it'd be on farms as well. The reason I do is twofold. One, politics is about people, and this has become too divisive for Canadians. Okay. Secondly, the contribution of the consumer carbon tax is a little less than 10% of our emissions reductions. I've spent a substantial portion of my career working on these issues, and there are better ways to accomplish those emissions reductions, particularly on my proposal, is that big polluters will pay Canadians, not taxpayers, big polluters will pay Canadians for their emission reductions, and will improve the options for and the ability of those companies, who are some of our most important companies, to get their own emissions down.
Okay, we're going to come back and debate this more, but Ms. Freeland, you are next with 1 minute.
Well, since we're talking about climate action, I do want to start by recognizing the role that I think history is going to judge very positively that Prime Minister Trudeau has played on climate action. He is the first Canadian Prime Minister to really move the dial. And under his leadership, we have become a country where the economy is growing while emissions are going down. That is a huge accomplishment for our children and grandchildren. On the
I don't think our emissions have even
consumer
been
price on
touched, let
pollution,
alone
I
the other
was the
crap she
first
just said.
candidate to come out and say I would lift that. And the reason is really simple. Democracy is about listening to people. And Canadians were very clear with us in conversations with me that they didn't think that policy worked for them. What we need is carrots. We need incentives to double down on the incentives I put in place, the Canada Growth Fund, the investment tax credits, to create a green transition that delivers jobs and growth for the Canadian economy. I know that we can do that, and I know that that's what Canadians need. And if we let Pierre Poilievre be elected, that will be the end of climate action in Canada.
Okay, we're on the 1 minute segment.
I love talking about Poilievre. So here's a point from the CSFN leadership debate from 2022. This is by far one of my favorite moments. It's short but hilarious. And Jamil Javani is actually one of the moderators of this one. And just his reaction here as they're about to go toe to toe is comical.
Elect someone who has a record of raising taxes. I've been cutting taxes, fighting inflation, and empowering the working class my entire life, and we'll win an election with that message. Thank you.
All right, well, let's move on to some personalized.
Jamil, did we not have time for rebuttal?
Oh, yeah. Well, none of you mentioned each other. If you'd like to mix it up, let's go.
That's what a debate is, folks. In fact, Jamil's doing this moderation, and they ask him, where's the rebuttal section? He's like, well, none of you guys mentioned each other's names. He's like, well, if you want to go, let's go. Let's get it on. And they went at each other's throats for the next 30 minutes after this. It was amazing, but that's what a debate looks like. People actually wanting to debate ideas, not this love fest crap. So, and holy smokes. We have Dan Desban says, what a bunch of caca poo-poo this debate that is. Dude, my favorite part about this is this man spent $70 to say that. That is iconic. I love that.
That is worth it. Like, worth it, man. Worth it.
This guy's my hero. Oh,
I know.
That was great.
Oh man,
I
was listening to the debate while you guys were you were showing the conservative thing, and yeah, there was nothing important even said.
The CPC party and MPs are shredding them on X right now. I should probably go through X. I'm curious what they're saying over there.
Also, I hate whenever they bring up the carbon taxes if it's like actually reducing emissions. It's not. And when they show like the emissions changes, like that's because of changes to the way we work from home and not work from home now. That's like it's leftovers from COVID.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's so trash. What's this guy trying to say now? Oh, Paul.
Axe the tax. He's got the T-shirt. He's got the slogan. That's all he'd do. He doesn't care about the rebate checks disappearing.
No.
He doesn't care about our businesses becoming more competitive. We started this evening talking about the absolute need for our country to diversify our trade, to build with new allies. Climate change, addressing climate change, and I've spent a huge part of my career addressing it, both in terms of policy and leading the largest clean energy investor in the world. Okay? But a big part of climate change is about the economic opportunity. We will not have access to the European market unless we make the progress here. So we have to do two things. We have to supercharge some of the programs that have been put in place so businesses are getting their emissions down. We are a clean energy superpower, and we have to make all of those households whole on the rebate checks that they will no longer receive. That requires a middle-class tax cut. It requires additional measures, including, final point, polluters paying those households so their energy is more affordable and cleaner.
We have 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, and we're going to have to stick to this. So I want to get through all of you. Ms. Freeland first.
Oh, my gosh. No, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. This is ridiculous. And the chat's saying they'd rather listen to us anyways. So,
yeah.
Oh,
I'm done.
Yeah. You know what, folks? We love you guys, but we're turning this off now. I'm done with this. This is so trash. There's nothing here. I'm going to bring Reg here. Could you move yourself a little to the left, I think, Reg? I think you're left, so I can get you center of the screen there.
There we go.
Oh, thank you, sir.
How's that?
Yeah, it looks beautiful now. Yeah.
Oh, man. I just want to say I wrote down three things from what Mark Carney just said. He said, Pierre doesn't care about our businesses. Rich, coming from the guy who made sure that Brookfield went down to the States where it's a little more favorable for their taxation. Also, just the fact that he gave Brookfield a shout out there. Interesting. Yeah. Like, shout out to my company, which I made sure that the government was sending all the contracts to. We don't need to look into that, though, but just shout out them. And then lastly, when he's saying no access to the European market, yeah, okay, let's talk about the fact that you have Russia literally entering Ukraine. Everybody loses their mind, but they're still doing business with Russia. You know, do you think green technology is going to be the thing that stops them? No, if they're still buying energy from a country that is literally at war with Europe, I don't think they're going to give a rat's whether or not the energy that they're getting is green or not, because they don't even care if the energy they're getting is like blood soaked or not.
Yep. And Watch Your Eyes says carbon tax action in Canada is like trying to rein in a fart in a herd of cattle. China is the herd. Gosh. Yeah, but that is like really worth it's at like ending all their plans, especially when we've seen the PBO say, yes, the carbon tax doesn't work. It's actually making people poor and it's not accomplishing what it's supposed to be accomplishing. That's all you need to know right there. And it isn't, I had to watch it tonight though. I gave them an hour and 40 of my time. Didn't hear anything worth of interesting. They didn't even go at each other in any menial way or meaningful way. Why am I wasting my time with this? And it's more fun to watch the counter programming from the conservatives on Twitter than it is to actually watch the real thing.
Yeah, and I think like one of the things that I wanted to look at, because as I mentioned, like I registered so that I could vote in the federal leadership race, and I was gonna vote for Ruby, but they kicked her out because they were like, oh no, she's too much of a she's too much of a change from the status quo. We need more Justin, please.
Yep.
So now I'm like looking at this. I'm like, who do you vote for now? Obviously, you can't vote for Carney because, like I said, everything he said tonight, I think that was the most alarming thing that was useful from watching this was the fact that he kept talking about the 13 economies into one. Yeah. That to me was the only useful thing that they said tonight, which kind of gave me a hint in the fact that he's going to strip away power from the provinces. He doesn't like the fact that the provinces have authority over the resources, over what they can do, and he's going to just try and dissolve that power and consolidate it in his hands in Ottawa. That was like what was most alarming. And I was like, okay, there's something that's interesting that came out of this debate. Other than that, nothing. So I'm like, okay, Frank, we couldn't even listen to him. Same with Karina. So I'm like, I guess you're left with Freeland.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know what I mean?
And that too, where I have been thinking a little bit about what if Freeland wins? How much do you want to bet she actually steps aside and doesn't take it on? I'm genuinely curious if that would actually happen. Would she take on the mantle of being leader, or would she say, something else has come up. I can't really be a PM right now. I'll have to yield to someone else. Like, I don't know. I don't know the liberal rules around that, but that one just feels weird.
I don't know. I think she might. I think she would take it.
Yeah.
She was ballsy enough to like crap on Trudeau and like in front of the entire country. I don't know. I don't think she would pass up the leadership. I think that she's got enough love for herself that she'd be like, oh yeah, I'm the best.
The people want me.
The people have spoken. They want me, obviously.
NWO, baby.
Yeah. But out of Freeland and Carney, I'd take Freeland over Carney any day of the week and twice on Sunday. But it's sad that that's what you're left with, right?
And well, they made it that way, right? It was all purposeful. Anyone that could be a little bit of a outlier or cause a bit of an issue, they made sure to get them out real quick. And we talked about it on the show multiple times. I was like, yeah, they're going to do something with Arya. They're going to do something with Dalla. And they found ways to do it, especially when you have the chief of staff for multiple Liberal cabinet members saying, yeah, we got to find a way to get her out. Live on CBC tells you everything you need to know. But that is the show, folks. We really appreciate you guys joining. We appreciate you guys helping us get more of an audience than global. More an audience than CBC. It means the world. I can't believe it. And again, I'm not trying to bolster ourselves up too much. Like, we are a small show. 1.8 thousand, great numbers. Lots of people. We love to see it, but we've seen shows do 10, 20, 30,000 at once. And so this is definitely not one of those shows. And the fact that we still beat those guys shows you how no one cares about this. So
I'm still loving the chat though. Like, I just like this person, to be honest, I'm a liar. And this other person, douche and turd sandwich. Like, they're so good.
Oh man. Mark Toth says, OMG, this is like watching an episode off Mystery Science Theater 3000. Can't stop laughing. Oh man. Yeah.
I don't even drink, but I'm grabbing a case from the fridge.
Yo, shout out Keeps. Let's go. That's a Scotian
Yeah.
right there. I don't care what anyone says. That's a
This
Scotian right
person, thanks for live streaming this horrible debate. So true.
there. It's true. I mean, and honestly, watching Frank Bayless talk was like watching a used bag of milk, man. That guy stinks.
Yeah.
That was, yeah. And Karina Gold not showing up to any of her, well, I shouldn't say any, but choosing which events she was going to show up for was wild. To the only one she actually planned is just very indicative that I don't feel like any of them took this seriously.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think what I was hoping for is that I was hoping that they would give us just a little more teeth, like something. Like they keep talking about how they're going to stand up to Trump and they're going to show Trump what's what. And like, you can't even do that with each other.
No.
And these people are your friendlies. Like, well, how are you going to do this to your enemy?
Yeah, seriously. What are you going to do? Really? What are you going to do? Like, there's nothing worse than someone like Karina Gold standing up saying, I'm going to take on Trump. Are you? Are you? Okay. Yeah. I am shaking in my boots. So,
yeah.
Dude, what if Karina wins? Oh, baby. I didn't even think about that as an option.
Oh man, they have to invest in some extra mics. That's all I can say.
Okay,
this other person says it's hard to get elected for frozen doctors. Oh man.
Oh yeah, we're
do
actually,
a vote on the chat.
Yeah,
that would be. Yeah, can we do that?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Amazing.
I didn't even realize that was an option, so I'm totally taking that. Twitchy Freeland.
Cat lady Karina.
Milk Bag Bayless. Billy Mark Carney.
They have the same eyebrows like the brothers.
Oh my gosh. All right, polls in. Who we voting for, chat? Who we voting for?
Oh, this is good.
This is good. They just debated energy. It was sad. Did they? Oh, man. Glad to hear that we're missing such a good time over there right now.
Oh, man. I couldn't do it anymore.
It was getting painful, man. I was trying to be... Oh, the pleb is having a breakdown. What? Tell us more. What do you mean? Like, in terms of, is he doing the breakdown of the debate, or is he, like, mentally okay?
Yeah, is he okay, or...
Like, yeah, like, I'm like, in genuine, like, pleb's is a friend of the show. We love him. We actually want to make sure he's doing okay. Or is he just yelling at the screen? That is also probably what's happening. Pleb's probably yelling at the screen. That's what he's probably doing.
Yeah.
Pat says, demented autistic boomers probably think this circus was a great display of intelligence. Thank you for tonight. Cheers. We love you, Pat. You've been a great viewer. Thank you all so much.
I'm surprised Bayless is getting as much support on here as he is.
Yeah, seriously. We're at 167 votes. I want to get us up to 300 votes. I want to see I want to get a decent sample size here of all of us degenerates, So,
yeah. But see, what I'm wondering though is like, because I'm assuming a lot of us are more conservative leaning, and I'm just wondering, like, do you think that we would have enough sway with the amount of people who like signed up, like we did, for the federal liberal leadership? Do you think we'd have enough to actually change the outcome so that Mark Carney would not get it, or do you think we'd be splitting that secondary vote and then Mark Carney would win from all the liberal supporters?
Yeah, I think it'd be the latter. Cause that's what it's like. It's essentially you have to vote 3 or 4 options, right? That's how this is working. And each one gets ranked in points. So I think that's the problem, is like the fact that they're not doing a straight vote, is that it is a progressive system. I think either way, I think Carney's probably going to take it, because even though he might be another person's third choice, he's going to be more people's first choice, and he's still going to pick up points from people's third choice.
Right.
Trash. We're at two. Okay, I'm not ending this friggin' chat until we hit 300 votes. I want 300 votes. Give me 300 or give me death. That's what I want.
Okay. People, tell me why Bayless? Why milk bag Bayless? Like I'm actually shocked.
I'm like, he's literally tied right now, or close to tied with Freeland. You guys are nuts. We are. Yeah. Is it just because you hate the Liberals so much you just want to tank them with Bayless? That's what we want to know. Vote you mangy dogs. Josh coming in hot. Oh man. Net Zero and the Green Agenda was written a long time ago in a series of 3 sci-fi novels entitled Eco Guards 3 E's, when the UN took it and rewrote it and used it as their agenda 2021 and 2050. I'll look that up. I'm interested in that. Elevate, you need to add the 4-year-old to the poll.
This other person, you should have had an option of a turd sandwich on the poll. We do. It's called Mark Carney.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. I need to. I've already seen a couple comments already. Pleb is fine. Debate is hilarious. Gold says she is proud of Trudeau's work. Okay. Thanks, just me, Nicole. I'm happy to hear it. I really hope that when I hear that anyone says that Pleb's having a tough time, I want to make sure he's doing okay. We love Pleb. So
you needed a none of the above as a choice. That's not the point, guys. The point is that we're stuck with these idiots and we have to pick one of them. So you have to pick them with us.
Yeah, exactly. 35. Okay, we're at like 33. Give me, okay, we're down to 32. Give me 32 more votes, folks. Tell us who you want. Who are we going with here? Because right now, Freeland and Bayless are neck and neck. And guess what? Carbon Tax Carney's dead last. Oh, gosh. With 3%. This is wild. Stanislav Kogan says, Gold, the PM, would be the perfect fate of this 10 years of turdyism. Dude, 100%. That would be the perfect way to end this out. Karina Gold for PM.
This is actually more interesting. The Leafs beat Boston 5-4 in OT.
No way. That is big. Big news. They beat Marchand.
That's actually more interesting.
Yeah. Chris Saganowicz says, Pleb is awesome. Yes. Pleb is a wild boy. I'll tell you that much. He's a wild boy. Milk Big Bayless. Again, going back and forth with Freeland. We are 11 votes away. 5 votes away. 39% each.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Oh, my gosh.
3 votes. Oh, he just took the lead.
Oh. Boy. Y'all are cranked. You know what, Reg? Here's the thing. I know I'm just going off the dome right now. I think we need to do more of these lives.
I do too.
This was too much fun.
I love it. And you guys are too much fun to just ignore. Like the group think, the internet, honestly, awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
We know the CBC doesn't love it, but we will always welcome it any day of the week. We got to 300 votes. We're over 300 votes, and we have tie between Freeland and Bayless, folks.
People, voter apathy.
Yeah, seriously.
For the podium.
The minute I see Milkbag Bayless is up, I'm ending the poll. And we're ending it right there. Oh, man. You guys are so great. I hope you all get your rest. Honestly, at this point, the way I typically... Oh, jump and give me 2 seconds, folks.
Oh, no.
Reg talk while I'm doing
this. What are you doing, man? Oh, no. We're up to 322 votes, and they're still tied neck and neck, both at 39.
That's amazing. Congratulations to Moose on Loose for his 100K subscribers. Yes, I know he fought hard to get back. He had an account at one point at 250K. They got taken from him. And so he was trying to build back up to 100K. So good for him. Congratulations to Moose hitting that. Shout out David. Decline vote wasn't an option. Shut up. You guys are killing me right now. All right, we ended up hitting.
Oh, there we go.
330 votes. Bayless is going to win. The Elevate poll thinks Bayless should win. You guys are amazing. Well, folks, we're going to call it a night. This was wild. We're going to do more of these because y'all are amazing, and this was way too much fun.
Yeah, and Reg is going to invest in a better camera and lighting setup so that so that I'm not in the dark over here.
I think you look far better this time than you did last time. But also last time you had a fever, which was awful to watch. So
yeah, last time I was deeply unwell.
True. And then Boba Fett says, check out the Toronto Star's feedback on the debate. It's straight copium. I'm sure it is. Sure it is.
Before we totally end, I just will say that I've been getting stupid emails from all the different liberal candidates, lackeys basically, and they're all like, this person's killing the debate, this person's owning it, oh my god, can't believe this person totally took the debate. Every single one of them has said that. I'm like, are you even watching the same thing I'm watching? Nobody's killing this debate. I'm being killed watching the debate.
Yeah, they all stink. Yeah. Oh man, Glenn K is saying, love the channel, guys. Everyone giving us love. The one love fest I hate is this debate, but the love fest on here for us has been fantastic. But have yourselves a good one. We're out.